Welcome to the program. I'm Lana Kay. Our guest on today's show has been away from our program for way too long. Please welcome Dan Newman back to the show. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. It's been a while.
It has been, and it's so good to have you with us again. Dan is the owner of Holistic Health, and his contact information will follow at the end of the program. Today, Dan will be discussing compulsive gambling. Yes, gambling addiction. The amount of emails I received on this was really staggering. So I have to believe that many of you are in trouble with this problem, or you know someone who's in trouble with this problem. So Dan, first of all, healthcare professionals, addiction specialists had a tough time really identifying this as an addiction.
Correct. This is one of the least known addictions in this country at the time. We all know about alcoholism, drug addiction, sexual addiction. We know about them because of how they disrupt lives. People getting killed by drunk drivers, people overdosing on drugs. You don't hear of anybody dying from gambling addiction.
That's a
which
good
is
point.
no, but the problem is the suicide rate is very high.
Yes.
So people do die. It's the individual gambler
Sure.
that winds up taking their own life because of what they've done to the family or what they've done to their careers and everything else. So there's still lives at risk when we talk about gambling addiction.
Okay, now Dan, since I guess because it's a behavior, and we do, like you said, alcohol, drug addiction, these are, you know, they have the component of the drug.
Right.
This is a behavior, but it becomes compulsive.
Correct.
And then they can't, you know, they just, no matter what consequences they face, they can't seem to stop going or doing the behavior.
Well, many people in our area never had to deal with gambling addiction. It was always been Vegas, the boardwalk, or whatever. So now that we have a casino downtown Cincinnati, and it's been on the news, women being arrested, leaving their kids in the car while they run in and just do a quick get. You know, well, it's not a quick thing. It winds up 2, 3, 4 hours. And when we look at places like Vegas, you know, I've been to Vegas. They've got multiple casinos there. And the big punchline in Vegas is Vegas was not built on the winners. It was built on thousands upon thousands of losers.
That's what people don't seem to get.
Exactly, and with you know, the casinos, the racinos, I mean, all over the state now, we are going to be facing major gambling addiction problems in our area.
Sure. Now, Dan, I attended a Gamblers Anonymous meeting. The members were very frustrated with family and friends who simply advised them, and this was their answer, well, just quit going over there, or just quit buying the scratch-offs.
Right.
Don't go to the track anymore. So, Dan, and I know they meant well, and it seems like that's the answer. Just don't go, and you won't do it, and that's great. But they can't quit going, and willpower can't really stop the behavior.
No. When we look at comments such as that, it's like telling an alcoholic, don't go to a bar, okay? Or, you know, telling a drug addict, well, quit buying drugs. People don't understand the addiction. The addiction on gambling, when they're not gambling, they face physical illness. They face mental illness, manic depression, frustration. And people that have never been to a casino, they don't understand, if you walk into a casino, you have to learn where the exits are, because they're marked, but everything is flash. You know, they want, there's the excitement.
Yes.
You know, it's colorful, it's musical. Like in Las Vegas, you can get a hotel room for as cheap as $40 a night, because they want your money in the casino.
Exactly.
Not in a hotel room.
Exactly. Now, Dan, a lot of gambling addicts seem to want to learn why they gamble. Now, do you think it's important for them to understand why, or just that they're doing it?
To me, my personal opinion is, if they start going onto the road of recovery, to stop gambling,
Yes.
that's when they start identifying what caused them to gamble. Like any addiction,
True.
I know people that can go out and have 6 beers on a Saturday night and never be an alcoholic. I know people that can play cards or whatever, never worry about gambling. But there is that draw, especially in the casinos, the noise, the excitement, feeling important because they bring you drinks.
Yes.
You know, and they treat you like royalty because they want your money. It has no other reason other than they want every dime you can cough up. So facing the fact that I've got a gambling addiction is just as difficult as facing the fact about alcohol or drug addiction. And until they admit they have a problem, loved ones, there's nothing they can do.
Okay, now many people feel that compulsive gamblers must be low on brains, unintelligent, to lose the exorbitant amounts of money that they lose and continue to do it. So address that. Does it have anything to do with intelligence?
Oh no, I mean, when you look at the high rollers at the big casinos that are dropping $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a game, these are intelligent people. You don't make that kind of money being dumb.
Right.
It has nothing to do with intelligence. It has to do with, quote, the gambling gene. You know, people don't realize cell phones, free apps. Well, you couldn't make it to the next level, so you're a failure. But you could buy more attempts for only 99 cents.
True.
Then all of a sudden you get your credit card bill and you spent $300 on 99-cent advancements.
Just quickly.
And that's what people don't realize. It's not about being intelligent or low intelligence. It's about the panic that hits when they realize they've spent too much money and the next one will pay off. Very rarely is there ever the next one.
Very rarely, that's the whole problem. Okay, now let's take a look, Dan, just what you were speaking of. This, and I hope our cameraman can get it, is Maureen O'Connell. And let me just read you a little bit. It was like electric heroin, Maureen O'Connor said of the machine she thought she could beat. You know, the more you did, the more you needed, and the more it wasn't satisfied. But in the end, it was the machine that beat O'Connor, leaving the former San Diego mayor and heiress to a $50 million fortune, all but destitute. At 67, she now lives with her twin sister instead of the beachfront estate in La Jolla that she and her husband enjoyed, and he was the owner of the Jack in the Box fast food chain. She has spent all of their proceeds. So I want to go a little bit further. She was addicted to video poker. That machine, as she referred to it, in 9 years, she placed over $1 billion in bets. She was known as a whale in the gambling world. She was flown in a private jet to Vegas, Atlantic City, and when her funds were exhausted, she was deep in debt. She laundered money from a charitable foundation set up by her late husband, and then, of course, she was charged with a felony. She didn't do jail time, but she had to make restitution.
Right.
This was the beloved Mayor Mo, as she was known to the citizens of La Jolla, that went down to this addiction.
People don't
It's
realize
amazing.
it could be your next door neighbor. You know, it could be a family member. There's no cut and dried image of a gambling addiction. It's a situation where, you know, like she said, they fly her in. She's spending lots of money, but when the money's gone.
They said she never disappointed, but when it was gone,
your big, like Vegas and Atlantic City and all that, if you want to buy a used car, that's where to go. Because people will sell their vehicles just to get that one more hit. And when we look at the elderly, I've been in casinos in Reno and every place else, and to see a senior citizen wearing disposable underwear because they won't even take the time to go to the bathroom. They will sit there for 8, 10, 12 hours, and they'll take a whole row of machines, and you better not touch one of them because they will go ballistic.
Because they're hot or whatever they think. Okay, so back to video gambling. This is just what you're talking about.
Right.
This is the heroin of the gambling world. These machines can produce a mechanical rhythm that lull the gambler to a trance-like state where they really can't think about the consequences, as you're saying. They put on their, disposable pants and just sit there, sort of lulled into a trance-like state.
Well, it's like video games that we've seen at the malls, that we see in bars. Used to be the pinball machines. I mean, you get going on a machine and you lose track of time and everything else.
I remember that.
Yeah, you could go on for hours. The video games, and another thing about gambling addiction, people think you have a gambling addiction if you sit at the poker table or at the roulette wheel. They don't think it's an addiction sitting at the machine. you know.
And they'll
you
say,
don't-
oh, I was at the penny machine.
Right.
You know, just at the penny
yeah,
machine.
penny, nickel machine, whatever, and they just,
It mounts
you've
up
got this,
hour after hour.
exactly, and you've got this video thing right here in your face, and you're watching the colors and the sounds. You hit, oh wow, you won $10. Well, it lights up like you won 10,000.
Right.
That
and this
kicks in
gets
the
you
adrenaline.
going. Yeah,
that
this
keeps
gets
you going.
Okay.
So everything, all of these are designed to take your money, bottom line.
Okay, so Dan, back to the seniors. What happens? Are they can't make the I mean, what drives them to the casino, let's say? Are they lonely? They can't make that transition maybe from now I don't work anymore, so you know, I mean, maybe lonely,
Boredom,
good.
not feeling important to anybody or anything. Whereas in the casino, they know you by name. Like I said, they give you free drinks, they give you free snacks, they wait on you. Do
Makes
you need
total
anything?
sense.
So, you know, for the seniors, they don't think about seniors being addicted like we don't think of seniors being drug addicts.
Right. It just seems like a senior and you've saved your nest egg, your pension, some pensions are attached. It seems like they just would not go that far.
Well, a friend of mine, I was talking to him, his mother has spent their whole nest egg, $75,000, on the machines, trying to win enough money to make that ultimate vacation for her and her husband. That $75,000 would have made a beautiful vacation.
You're not kidding, and then
now,
some.
Yeah, now they're looking at divorce because she refuses to go in for help. She's ignoring her health. She's just, everything's about this gambling
It's
addiction.
took over her whole mind, her whole world. Okay, now Dan, there's a commercial. You're just addressing this. That runs, I won't say what casino. The casino's not important. Let's just say the casino. Okay, so it shows these really attractive people with wine glasses and they're dancing and they're well-dressed, good-looking people. And the caption is, come, let's just say, to the casino where you're in charge, where you're the star. And today, ironically, for the first time I saw one, and it went something like, you're not just important, you're an icon. And so those, I know those are psychologically thought out to drive them over. So are they not feeling like a star? And they're not feeling important, and like an icon, I think, maybe crossed the line, but but that appealed to them. I know it did.
Well, it does. And again, when you look at your big cities that have multiple casinos, like in Las Vegas, each casino is designed and decorated to target a specific population.
Okay, I never thought about that.
Yeah, they are. There's a new one that opened up in Vegas, and again, I don't want to mention names, but it's very popular among the 20 to 30-year-olds. The center bar looks like a crystal chandelier.
Okay.
And it's all VIP service.
These are the millennials.
Then you go to another casino, and it's done up like a Victorian castle. There's your blue-collar workers.
I agree.
So they set these up to target specific audiences.
Okay.
In our area, everything's based on horse racing, sports. So I can't be gambling addicted if it's just on the Reds or the Bengals,
Exactly.
or because I'm not at the roulette wheel, I'm not at the blackjack table.
Doesn't that make sense?
But they're still spending money they don't have.
Right. Okay, now, we've talked about this a little bit, but, and they said this in the Gamblers Anonymous, they have very grandiose thoughts when they're involved. They don't, I mean, they want to buy everybody summer homes, they want to go on exotic vacations. What is that? I mean, is it like the alcoholic on his last $50 enters the bar and says, get everyone a drink? Is it that I want to, you know, in a dream world?
Subconsciously, it's combating the guilt.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
you know, if I hit it big, I can buy everybody a home and a car, and they'll forgive me for what I've done.
Borrowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's like, okay, wow, I have done all this, and I will pay them back when I hit that big mark. They're not going to hit the big mark.
Of course.
How many times you've been in a gas station and seen a car that shouldn't even be on the highway because it's in such bad shape, but you'll see hundreds of lotto tickets in the back seat. That dream of hitting it big to pay everybody back.
That's so true. Okay, now Dan, many viewers who emailed me wondered if they had a gambling addiction. And I know you'll know how to address that. What would you say?
If you're questioning, chances are you have the addiction.
Do you know what they said in the GA meeting?
What?
If you think you're addicted, you
You
are.
are addicted. It's that
And
simple.
I'm so surprised you said that, because that was posed. That
Yeah.
question was posed, and they said, if
Yeah.
you think you are, you are.
If
Wow. I can't believe you answered that.
if you are secretive about going to the casinos or about your gambling, you've got a problem. If you can't control the gambling,
Can't
it's
stop.
like, okay, I'm only going to do this on payday. Well, it's not payday, but if I do it now, I can make it to payday.
Okay.
If you
It's preoccupied,
Right.
always in your head
Always
about
in your
getting
head.
over there or what's
if you're
going to
doing
happen.
online gambling when you don't have money,
Right.
that's addiction. And if your families and friends have told you, what's going on, man, you've got to slow down, you've got an addiction. So
Sure.
it's like anything. If you ask, chances are you have the addiction.
I can't believe you answered. Okay. Now, Dan, do you have to gamble every day?
No. Some people...
Like the drinkers.
Oh,
They
no,
don't
right.
drink every day,
They don't
but
drink
when
every
they
day.
drink, you better...
They drink hard.
You better get out of the way.
But there are gamblers that are there every day.
Yes.
They've got their stool, they've got their row, they're there every day. There are gamblers that are just, quote, and I hate to use the word normal, but they're just everyday Americans. And they're thriving for that vacation. And they
Yes.
will blow everything they made that year on that one vacation. But I only do it once in a while, so I'm not addictive.
Right.
It's not how often, it's what you spend
When you go.
when you go and how you feel when you lose. Because all of a sudden now you've spent everything. How are you going to tell your spouse, your significant other? How are you going to cancel the vacation with your kids? So
Wow.
all of that guilt
Wait.
comes back.
Okay, now, problem gambling is not really a problem if I can afford it.
Yeah. Tell that to the mayor.
Right.
There we go. I don't care if
And your family and your friends.
right,
and
whether you
your
have,
relationships that are dying.
if you've got $1 million, that doesn't mean that you can control your gambling.
That's the
Like
truth.
she said in the article, they flew her in by private jet. So the more money you can spend gambling, the more royalty you
will-
become.
Yes.
But
So
at the
good.
same time, I don't care how much
Bigger
money
fall
you have.
you will take.
You talk to her, you talk to any millionaire that drops $7,500, $100,000 on a poker game, they're going to hurt.
better
That's a
believe
lot of money. They're going to hurt too. So your amount of income or your wealth is not the problem. The problem is you cannot exist without the gambling.
My partner is driving me to gamble.
Yeah, my wife makes me drink.
Right.
Okay,
It's the same
my
old
son
thing.
makes me do drugs.
That's the
Blame somebody else, then it's not my problem.
Right.
So that's why to pay off somebody's debt or to say, okay, honey, I'll cover it this time. No, they're using you. They're trying to make you feel guilty because they cannot understand their own addiction. And that's what
And
we
that
run
won't
into.
work. That was my next question. If they build up a debt, we should help them take care of it.
No, no,
That
no,
will
no.
end their problem. To give them a clean slate.
What happens
That won't
is,
work, will it?
wow, they just covered my debts. So now I
so
can start over.
Now I can really go for it.
Watch
Okay.
this one, I'll win this time.
Okay, now, Dan, the path of most compulsive gamblers is we spend all my finances, then I tap out family and friends, and then when they become enraged and won't give you any more money, if you have access to your employer's money somehow, it is always the case, they will usually do that.
Yeah, how many times we've heard it on the news, whether it was a politician or a trusted,
Exactly.
whoever, that here's somebody the community respected and everything else, but all of a sudden they had the ability to start writing company checks to themselves and all this kind of stuff. So if there's access, everybody has to understand for the addict, they have to have that fix. Just like with a heroin addict, they'll steal. They'll steal stuff to sell to get the money. Well, it's the same thing as gambling addiction. They will do what they need to do to get the cash. Break into the kids' piggy banks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, and any money that's
Any money they
available,
can get.
they will get. Okay, now, Dan, if going to the casino is my thing, video poker is my thing, thank God it isn't, but is it important for me then, I'm in recovery, and I'm at the gas station, and I think I'll get some scratch-offs, or I think I'll get in the office pool and take the chance. Could that get me going, would you say?
Oh, yes. If
That's
you're
what
in
I'm
recovery,
thinking.
yeah. If
That's
you're
what
in
I was
recovery,
wondering.
you have to avoid all the possibilities of betting.
Of chance, that
Of
game
chance,
of chance that
That's it.
that
you
we
know.
want to take. So even though it wouldn't be my machine of choice, it could get me thinking again, back in the cycle, let's say.
That's
you
it.
think that
You're
would
going to
happen?
get that rush.
Oh, wow.
And
So-
how many times have people gone out and bought lotto tickets because it's now $250 million?
Oh, yeah,
You stand a better chance of winning if it's only $3 million.
exactly. But that
The
that
grandioso, the numbers, the
that's
payback,
true. And
what
that
I can pay
happens
back.
to many of us.
Oh, yeah.
That's when it really, leaps up. Okay, now, Dan, some people seem to be hooked from the start. Here's Shirley's story. In her mid-20s, she went to Las Vegas on a road trip with friends as a lark. She spent every dime. She maxed out her credit cards. She said, I wanted to gamble all the time. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was hooked from the start. Do you believe that?
Yep.
Do you believe that one time
That
could
one
get,
time.
could,
One time,
wow, we,
how many people do we know that are alcoholics because of that first drink? Made them feel good. It was warm. It just
Oh, my
made me feel
goodness.
special. And that's the thing about casinos. They're designed to make you feel special. So is there some part of your life that's lacking? Or you could have a perfect life, but still, it's the adrenaline rush, the lights, the sound, the action. You are now a superstar.
right, as that commercial said, where you're the star.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, one other little article, Dan, and we'll take a shot of this before I read. And this was like in the February. I'd been thinking about this and receiving emails for quite a while. This was like February, the Inquirer. So, Dan, it says, no matter how great Kentucky's economic need becomes, no politician or community leader will ever outright propose a bill to heavily tax the poor and especially target women and low-wage workers and retirees. Yet that is exactly what happens when our legislatures sponsor a casino. So let's talk about that, because you said it is the guy with the old car with the tickets in the back seat, women, a lot of desperate women, maybe single moms.
I don't like
that
to use
have
the word.
kids in the car.
Right. Yeah,
that you
I
said.
don't like to use the word desperate, because a lot of these women aren't desperate.
They're
bored.
Yes.
They want something to do other than
Okay.
being a housewife and raising the kids, So I'll just stop at the casino. It's flashy. It's this. It's that.
Where I'm the icon now.
Yeah, and I'm somebody important. And when we look at the fact that we have 3, 4 casinos in the state of Ohio now, plus all the racinos that opened up, legislation knows, yes, we are going to get a lot of money kicked
That's
back
what
off the
they're
taxes.
thinking. That's how they justify it, though.
Look what it's going to do for our economy. But look what it's doing to destroy
To our
economy.
citizens, exactly. There's a downside to that
Yes.
that they're not looking at. So please look at that. Okay, now Dan, I have fought addictions. I've been to the casino. It wasn't my thing. I didn't have a problem. But knowing now, attending that Gamblers Anonymous meeting, Dan, and I saw the remorse, the tears, embarrassment.
Humiliation.
Yes, help me. I mean, there were 2 letters read from prison of members that, they felt so bad, because if you can't make restitution, you're going to go.
Yep.
And so, they all understood, that this is just all part of it, that I think if you know you have an addictive personality, all of this is, I'm not going to the casino. Even though I didn't have any trouble and I sort of enjoyed it, it was okay. I've only been a few times, but I'm staying away from there when I really saw this problem up close.
Well, fortunately for me, and I've been to quite a few casinos, now they're all electronic, I get a headache.
Okay.
just from the home.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
couldn't
It's
really wait to
uncomfortable.
get out of there.
But I know one individual, she loves to go to Vegas once a year. She always manages to win $300-400.
That's great,
You
and
know,
that's fun.
but her husband always spends her $300-400 winnings
'cause-
because he can't hit no matter what. You know.
So, well, they break even. So that's not a bad game.
Well, yes, it is.
Oh, okay,
Because if
so-
he's willing to spend what he had budgeted plus her winnings, that's a sign of addiction. He didn't know when to stop.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he could not stop, you know.
Okay.
Well, I'll take her winnings. She don't care, blah, blah, blah. And that's the thing. I'll take. I'll pay it back. I'll pay it back. It doesn't happen. And by the time they realize how much they've spent, that's when the thoughts of suicide, that's when the thoughts of divorce, that's when the thoughts of mental depression and very deep depression, which could lead to alcohol and drug addiction on top of the gambling addiction.
Yes.
It's a very dangerous road to play on.
Yes, and it's not worth it. Okay, now can a compulsive gambler ever gamble normally again?
A compulsive gambler should never gamble again, period, bottom line. Anybody that's watching that is, you know, a compulsive gambler or has survived gambling addiction, understand, take pride in what you've achieved. Don't go back to the casinos. Don't go back to the video games. Take pride and solace in what you have accomplished by staying away, and use that as example for others.
I agree so much. All addicts, that's the dream of all addicts. I just want to do it a little bit, and it never, ever works. Okay, now, Dan, the Gamblers Anonymous members were very concerned about the numbers of young people dropping by meetings, but they said they would only see them once or twice, and then they wouldn't come back. So this, for young people, talk to us.
Young people don't think they're going to have a gambling problem, okay? Like I said, with the cell
They
phones.
think we're just having fun.
We're just having fun. We're just playing video games on my computer or on my iPad, my iPhone, whatever. What they don't realize is you're gambling. You are taking and spending money on free apps in order to achieve that next level. So by going to the next level, I get to that next level, I'm going to stop. Well, no, there's always another level.
That's
So
it.
you're not going to stop. And for young people, it's like with AA or NA, Gambling's Anonymous is the same thing. They stop in out of curiosity, but if somebody doesn't grab them, they're not going to come back.
Right.
And if anybody watching is studying to be a counselor, therapist, or social worker, here's a field that's severely lacking in professionals that have compassion and understanding.
I so agree with you. Okay, Dan, now it's possible to bar yourself out of the casino. I know I've got a problem. I'm going to bar myself out. Give me your good idea.
If the casino will do it. Most casinos will bar you.
Yes.
They will lock your accounts, close your accounts. They will not accept your ATM, your credit card, or anything else. The problem with that is, okay, I've got the downtown casino to bar me because I know I've got a problem. There's a racino right up the road, right? You can't get them all to bar you.
Right.
You have to bar yourself.
And you have to take charge of this.
You've got to take charge and saying, okay, if I know I've got a problem severe enough to get the casino to ban me from the casino, then I should take pride in the fact of identifying my addiction, going to Gamblers Anonymous, and getting on the road to no gambling, being healthy, well-briety, and knowing that I'm not going to go back. And it's a hard process.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie to anybody. It's difficult when you see it all the time. You see it on TV.
Yes.
Did you get your lotto ticket?
Yes.
You know, did you get your scratch
Yes.
off? So we're being
Yes.
bombarded. They banned alcohol commercials.
Right.
They banned cigarette commercials. But we still see gambling commercials.
Yes. That
If-
might be addressed in the future.
Somebody that's fighting gambling addiction does not need to see that on TV.
Yes.
When they're trying to stay home, stay away, and they come
And
to
they're-
us,
right,
come
and
to us.
it looks like they're having a ball. Okay, now Dan, we'll talk now. We're about getting toward the end. So here is the it's a small little booklet. It's the Gamblers Anonymous booklet. Of Of course, these 12-step programs, Dan, I know you're a big believer in these, and they have been so successful with so many addictions. So tell us how this can help them, how this helps and solves it, really,
Yes.
if you will follow.
You've got to follow it. Anybody watching this, if you think you have an addiction, all you have to do is get on your computer, Gamblers Anonymous, and type in your city or your zip code, and it will show you where there are meetings.
So
And
important.
the hardest thing about a 12-step is that first meeting. Being able to get yourself together enough not to be embarrassed, you will be, not to feel humiliated, you will feel it, but taking pride, and you are taking that first step to stop your gambling addiction. And it's so much easier at, excuse me, Gambling Anonymous, where other people can share their story, and you'll see that you're not alone.
Yes, that's so comforting to be around, and no one really understands like somebody
Who's been there
and could still be there, and that is so helpful. And like you said, it dissolves the embarrassment. You're the
Right.
same as me.
Right, and you can get a sponsor just like you do with AA. So when you get that urge, you can call them and say, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do."
That's so important. I forgot.
Yes,
That is
having
great.
somebody that you can call and say,
I'm
can you
starting
come
to
over?
feel-
Can I come over? I'm losing control. I saw this, I saw that, please. And another thing for family members, and I want to bring this up, holidays, kids, let's play checkers, let's play cards. If you've got a gambling addict in your family, be careful.
True.
Because all of a sudden you're throwing cards around and you're betting pretzels. You're betting. And for an addict, it's like saying, okay, we're going to have Christmas, no milk, no juice, we're just going to have all whiskey. You wouldn't do that to an alcoholic.
Right.
Don't
That
do it
is
to
so
a
important.
gambling addict.
Think
Think all
about
the
what
time.
could trigger. What could trigger the compulsive gambler. So Dan, we're almost out of time.
Okay, well, thank you.
And again, I mean, haven't we learned so much? We have learned so much from you today, Dan. And to our viewers out there, again, this is Dan Newman, Holistic Health. His contact information will follow. And I hope that we have addressed some of your questions and concerns that you have about this terrible addiction. So until next time, be happy and keep smiling, and I'll see you soon.